U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen to visit China this week. Possibility of China's regime invading Taiwan is apparent and increasing. Foreign Minister. How China makes huge profits using waste hair from India. Chinese firm pledges over $137 million for workers to have children. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will travel to Beijing later this week to meet with senior Chinese officials to ease tensions between the U.S. and the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP regime. Yellen's visit, scheduled from July 6th through the 9th, follows Secretary of State Antony Blinken's trip to Beijing last month, where he held discussions with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, top diplomat Wang Yi, and Foreign Minister Qin Gang. Yellen's upcoming visit aligns with her previously outlined priorities for the U.S.-China economic relationship, including safeguarding national security interests, promoting mutually beneficial growth, and collaborating on global challenges like debt concerns. During her trip, she is expected to hold discussions with Chinese counterparts and American businesses operating in China, focusing on shared concerns and global issues. Key topics for discussion are anticipated to include macroeconomic and financial matters, responsible management of the U.S.-China relationship, direct communication on areas of concern, and collective efforts to address global challenges. The New York Times reported that Yellen would raise objections to China's recent ban on Micron Technology, a U.S.-based memory chip manufacturer. China's internet watchdog claimed that Micron poses relatively serious cybersecurity problems. Human rights violations in Xinjiang, specifically concerning the treatment of ethnic minorities, are also likely to be addressed by Yellen. The U.S. hopes to gain insights into Beijing's new counter-espionage law and its potential implications for foreign companies. In turn, Chinese officials are expected to question the intentions behind U.S. actions and express concerns over perceived inconsistencies between words and actions. The U.S. has imposed extensive restrictions on China's access to advanced technology, citing national security concerns. Additionally, the White House is preparing to implement investment restrictions to limit American funds flowing into the development of advanced technologies within China. In an interview with NBC publicized on June 29th, Taiwan Foreign Minister Joseph Wu said that the likelihood of the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP regime, attacking Taiwan in the near future is not high, but it is apparent and increasing. Taiwan News cited Wu saying, "I think China might be repeating what we saw as the origin of the Second World War, and we have to be careful." When asked if the Chinese military's daily incursions into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ, could cause an actual conflict, Wu replied that it was possible and noted that many wars arise from inadvertent accidents. In the interview, Wu also praised the Ukrainian soldiers for bravely defending their territories, defending their freedom and sovereignty when invaded by Putin's army. The Taiwan foreign minister added, "That is something that we want to learn." On June 27th, the Taiwan Ministry of National Defense, or MND, stated that Taiwan would strike back in self-defense if aircraft or entities of the CCP regime intruded on Taiwan's airspace or territorial waters and despised the warnings of the island's force. To prepare for the dire situation of being invaded by the CCP's military, Taiwan has recently increased the production of air defense and anti-ship missiles. Chinese traders are earning significant profits using waste human hair from India, from eschewing taxes and duties amounting to billions of dollars. In India, litter hair from salons is not wasted, as it's collected and hand-processed into balls before being sold to workshops to be semi-processed into double-drawn extensions. Then, it's sold to Western buyers, who turn them into highly profitable wigs and hair products. But according to a report by the South China Morning Post on July 2nd, the local industry is being threatened by Chinese traders, who get involved at the stage of hairballs and reap extra profits from illegal tactics. According to the report, the hairballs are smuggled to Bangladesh and other South Asian nations through agents hired by the Chinese, thus avoiding an estimated $3 billion per year in tax and duties from the Indian government. Sunil Ayamani, a member of India's Human Hair and Hair Products Manufacturers and Exporters Association, said what the Chinese traders evaded could amount to nearly 30% of the import value. In Bangladesh, the costs for semi-processing the hairballs are also cheaper, another gain for the Chinese, and a loss for India. As the article goes, many Indian workshops have been forced out of business for this reason. Thanks to the illegal channel, Chinese companies only have to pay between $60 and $70 per kilogram, 2.2 pounds, of hairballs from India. If they followed the same route as Western buyers, they would have to spend $200 per kilogram. Ariston and Intelligence forecast in a 2021 report that the global demand for wigs and human hair could reach $13.3 billion by 2026. Unfortunately, the widespread trafficking issue means India will likely get only a tiny share of this wealth. The Indian government has tried to protect the industry by imposing licensing rules for human hair exporters. However, Benjamin Sharian, president of the Indian Human Hair and Hair Products Manufacturers and Exporters Association, told the Post that illegal traders still managed to get the license. Sharian hopes his association may influence changes by urging the government to counsel Indian exporters about the damaging effects of selling hairballs to foreign buyers. Trip.com Group gives each employee a sizable reward of over $6,000 or 50,000 yuan for every child they have. The Chinese company, a leading travel service provider in the country, announced the generous incentive on June 30th, dedicating an estimated $137 million to the scheme. It said it would offer a yearly cash bonus of $1,380 for 5 years to its employees worldwide who welcome a baby into their lives. In a statement reported by Reuters, Executive Chairman James Liang said, "I have always suggested that the government give money to families with children, especially multiple children, to help more young people fulfill their desire to have multiple children." He continued, "Companies can also play a role within their own capabilities to build a favorable fertility atmosphere." The company stated that only employees who had worked for the company for at least 3 years would qualify for the subsidies. According to the Financial Times, state media enthusiastically praised the move and encouraged other companies to follow its lead. The announcement came as the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, became more anxious about the fast-shrinking population and the community's nonchalance about marriages and childbearing. It was not until 2016 that the country switched from its one-child policy to two-child, and then a rush to three-child encouragement in 2021. This January, Sichuan province took the lead and scrapped the cap on the number of children entirely, allowing parents to have as many offspring as they wish. In the same month, Beijing acknowledged that its population had dropped for the first time in 6 decades. In 2022, China had only 6.77 births for every 1,000 people, its lowest birth rate ever recorded, and a decline from 7.52 births the year before. James Liang, who is also a demographer, warned in January that the drop in China's birth rate and aging are worse than in Japan, and even increasing.